Hey, BookTube. Welcome to the Back Porch Review again. My name is Nick. And again, like the name implies, I will actually film some of these on my back porch. It's just still raining days and days later. Constant rain. Anyway, but the cool thing is that you do get to see our nice library again, and so that'll be fun. But what I'm going to do tonight in this video is just talk about my TBR list for June for sure, possibly partly for the summer, because one or two of these are a little long, but also slightly cheating. Some of these I've already started, and I just kept getting sidetracked with other books, and so I'm going to be finishing some books. But I noticed in some of the comments on my first video, which I appreciate those by the way, that some people were really interested in hearing some reviews on church history, on theology, and things like that, and I do like reading those, so this would be a mix of some heavier stuff like church history, theology, as well as a couple of fiction works, so it'll be fun. It'll be a good balance, really. The first one I wanted to talk about is called Life Together by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. For those that don't know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer was, he was a Lutheran pastor during the Second World War. He lived in Germany, grew up in Germany, was educated in Germany, spent some time in a couple of other countries doing some ministry, but what happened was during the rise of Hitler, he was very outspoken against the Nazis, very outspoken against Hitler, and so what he did is he actually, his church paid to send him to the U.S. to get him out of harm's way. He stayed here for a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and then turned around and went right back, feeling that he couldn't properly minister to his friends and his family and his other countrymen if he did not suffer with them as well under the Nazi regime. And so what he did when he came back is himself and some other friends, such as Karl Barth, for those that know any philosophers, started what was called the Confessing Church, which basically was in opposition to the German state church who had supported Hitler. But the Confessing Church also felt that they needed a church that properly taught the scriptures. And so that's why they started the church. But while he also started that church, he started a secret seminary. And while living at the seminary with the students, he wrote this book. And this book is about the classic exploration of faith and community. So basically, living life in Christian community and how to do that in faith. And it's really interesting. It's a great work if you're interested in discipleship, if you're interested in living life in community with other believers, or if you're interested in just what Christian discipleship and community kind of is. This is a great primer, basically. This, and maybe St. Benedict's Rule, which is more for monastic communities, but we'll check it out sometime. The second one, some of you may have heard of, because Martin Scorsese just made a movie out of it, but it's called Silence by Shusaku Endo. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. This book is about two Spanish priests who go to Japan to become missionaries. I'm about halfway through the book now, but from my understanding, this does not end well for those two missionaries, but it is a wonderful work from what I've read so far. It's written very well. It's very interesting. It's written in the style, really, of a diary from one of the priests' perspective, and there's just some good stuff in here. It's very moving, and from what I've been told, the movie itself is very moving. Also, from what I understand, Scorsese is a major fan of this book, read it constantly since its publication, and has wanted to make a movie out of it since the 80s. So he finally got to do it, and I hear it's a phenomenal film. So I'm reading the book partly because it's supposed to be a really good book, and it is so far, but two, because I'm a huge proponent of trying to read the book before the movie. There's a few instances where that doesn't work, but in this case, I feel like it's definitely probably true. So I definitely want to check this out and check out the movie and recommend it as well. The third one is historical fiction, which I read from time to time, but it's by author Bernard Cornwell. If you've heard of Sharpe's Rifles, or either the books or the movies were made for TV, starred Sean Bean. For those that have seen, Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, things of that nature, Sean Bean is Sharpe's. It's the same author that wrote those. This story is about an archer, go figure, that lives in a small southern British town in the 1300s. The town's raided by French soldiers, and he ends up wrapped up in the 100 Years' War. But during that, this is called the Grail Quest trilogy, ends up, as the name implies, hunting for the Holy Grail. So this should be really interesting. I'm about 6 chapters or so. Well, not 6 chapters, excuse me. I'm about 100 pages in, and only 2 chapters. About 100 pages in, and it's a great book so far. There are some hilarious lines in here. They're probably not meant to be hilarious, but they're quite funny. And again, another work. I'm also reading for a book club that I'm a part of. Becky Chambers' A Long Way, to a Small Angry Planet. This is a sci-fi novel. From my understanding is that it has kind of a Firefly feel, so any Whedon fans out there would probably like this. From what I'm told, Miss Chambers actually has said that that wasn't her intention, so I'm curious to see what happens, but I do know it's a ragtag crew on a ship working jobs, so sounds a lot like Firefly to me, so we'll see if it's any good. A couple chapters into that, and hope to have that done by the end of June as well, at least by the time my book club meets, because I have to read it, because I'm kind of the guy that started the book club, so that's kind of on me. The last one on the TBR is for those that were really interested in church history and theology, which seems to be kind of heavy this month, but there's just some good stuff to check out. I follow a website called Read the Fathers, and for those that are curious what that is, it's basically the church fathers, who, if you think of them kind of like the founding fathers of the United States, they're basically the founding fathers of the Christian church. So these are men, and some women for sure, that were around after Jesus' apostles died. So you're looking at 100s on. Anywhere from Ignatius of Antioch all the way to St. Augustine, and probably a little after. But Read the Fathers from June yesterday, and I wanted to post this video yesterday, so June 5th through August 18th. They have links you can click on, and I'll link the website below, and they have a calendar you can check out as well, or even sign up for email alerts, which is what I get. And they have the links to multiple chapters. A chapter in these books, in this book, is only maybe a page, some of them even aren't a page long, but this is The City of God by St. Augustine. And they're going to be reading it over the summer, and I thought that would be a lot of fun. It breaks it down. This is contained in this. There are multiple books with small chapters, which if you've ever read Lord of the Rings, you kind of have an idea of multiple books in one book. So that's what this is. I'm going to check this out over the summer. It should be fun. If you want to follow along, again, I'll put the link at the bottom, but it's from readthefathers.org, and we're going to be reading Augustine's City of God from June 5th through August 18th. Should be a lot of fun. Lastly, before I sign off and close this out, I will be reviewing a book I did just finish called All Our Wrong Todays by Elon Mastai, I believe. Great book, time travel, sci-fi, alternate reality book. Real quick read. Chapters are super short. Reads a lot like a screenplay because this is the author's first novel, and he is a screenplay writer, so there's a reason it reads a lot like a screenplay. It's super short, concise, but it's a great work. I'd highly recommend it, and I'll be doing the review hopefully in the next video. So that's it. That's the TBR. If you guys have any questions, comments, angering concerns, or anything like that, just post them below. And great.